All right, everybody, welcome to the U. First topic today, week of the Super Bowl. Got to talk about it. Talked about it last time. Just want to touch up. Who do you guys have winning? Don't even go in that in depth. Just who do you have winning?
I'm still going with the Eagles.
Chiefs all that.
Eagles.
Eagles are too good. You
Actually,
switched.
I did switch. Mahomes' ankle is sketching me out. That's just the end of the day.
Yeah.
Philly just looks dominant. It was pretty much a 50-50 on my last one, and me seeing Mahomes kind of, I don't know, your ankle doesn't get better that quick. So, but who knows? Another big storyline, obviously the Kelce bros. I saw a little thing from their podcast with their mom. You know, they were like, you know, who are you rooting for? You know, just joking around. She's like, rooting for offense. And you know what? I'm the same way. I want to see a high-scoring game, man. I don't want to see a Rams-Patriots Super Bowl again, you know. I want to see a nice, high-scoring. I like those. But it's pretty much all I have to say about the Super Bowl. Anything else from you guys?
I'm rooting for the same thing, so.
I hope it's an exciting game. I mean, although I don't think it's going to be high scoring, I think it's going to be an all-out defense, like, coordinator game, like, head coach to head coach at the end of the day.
Bro.
You were saying before Pat Mahomes' ankle was concerning you. It's Pat Mahomes. I have no concerns for him. I don't care if he's injured, if he's healthy or not. It's Pat Mahomes. He's going out there to win. So
Yeah.
Chiefs all day, in my opinion. But
Yeah, both these teams are just too good. It's going to be whoever comes to play that day, and it's also going to be the halftime coaching adjustments.
yeah,
So
100%.
I just want to say,
100%.
I think it will be a low-scoring game, but I want it to be a high-scoring game, obviously.
I think everyone does.
Yeah. But I do think it'll end up being, you know, a 17-10 game maybe, or maybe a 24 or 21. I think it's not going to go past the 30s for either team.
Who knows, dude? Both these teams have insane coaching, insane offense, insane defense, insane special teams. Like, who knows?
But that's the reason why I think it will be low scoring. I mean, if you look at any of the Chiefs' big games from the season against the Bills, it wasn't high scoring. Their game against the Bengals wasn't that high scoring. They've been winning with their defense and just putting up enough points. So,
Going back to Mahomes for a second, didn't he have a hurt ankle against the Bengals?
Yeah. And it was even worse. I mean, it's only going to get better after these next 2 weeks. Then
Exactly. That's kind of my thoughts. That's what scares me a little bit, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Eagles' defense is a lot better than Bengals' defense.
All right.
That's fine.
Switching it up to the next thing, just want to talk about some free agents, some coaches. Sean Payton gets signed to the Denver Broncos. I think this is astronomical for the Denver Broncos' future. A coach like that doesn't come around too often, you know. He's from the Bill Parcells tree, which is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think he'll straighten out Russell Wilson. I mean, they have the pieces, they just need coaching. They got the best coach. Broncos, I said it last year, but Broncos could be a team to look out for the Super Bowl next year. Anything you guys want to say about that?
We'll see. I'm not putting any faith in the Broncos.
I know, it's kind of hard to.
They looked so bad this year.
Mhm.
They looked so bad this year. And I thought they were going to be really good this year.
Mhm.
So I'm not getting my hopes too high on the Broncos. They're the Broncos after all.
Yeah.
If he can round out that offense, I mean, their defense looked good last year, and maybe not great, but they looked good. You know?
No,
they-
their defense was great.
Exactly.
Their
Pat
defense
Surtain-
was great.
Pat Surtain
Exactly.
looks like a stud. And yeah, I mean, the only clips I've seen so far, he had his like introduction press conference, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but Russell Wilson has like a team of coaches that like have their own office in the Denver building.
I saw this.
Sean Payton goes, yeah, that's not happening this year. So he's already like laying down the law. I think that's good for the Broncos, and I think it's good for Russell Wilson, who's coming off the worst season of his career. So
Yes, definitely.
I think it's a step in the right direction, obviously, and I think it's overall just good.
Like you said, I think it's a step in the right direction. Like, he wants nothing to do with that whole Russell Wilson having an office, all that thing. But, like, at the end of the day, like you said, how are you going to have any other expectations than this
It's
past
tough.
season?
Mhm.
I mean, their defense looked good. Offense was god-awful. I mean, they had some injuries here and there, but we'll see. I mean, all
we'll
we have to
see.
say is
We'll
we'll
see.
see.
Mhm.
I saw this stat that if the Broncos could put up like 10 points every game, they would have been a playoff team. That's how good their defense is, because they have one of the best defenses in the league, actually, and they have the worst offense.
Didn't they average the lowest this season in like points scored?
Yeah,
They
I
had
think-
to have. If they put up
it's
10
never
points,
the Texans. I don't
Yeah,
remember. The
I
Texans
believe
put
it
up
if the
points.
Texans were there.
Dude, I think the Texans scored more than the Broncos. The Broncos were brutal.
Yeah, their games were rough to watch. Anything else you guys want to say? I'm going to switch it up.
All right, last thing I tell you about the Broncos, I hated watching those games. The score was always like 10-9.
Yeah.
Because
I'll
their
never
defense is
forget.
so good and their offense was so bad. They're such frustrating, boring games.
Yes.
I'll never forget that Monday night game, Broncos Colts.
Oh
God.
my gosh, that was awful.
Fell asleep at halftime.
Yeah, that was just god awful. All right, just some other things going on. We got Brian Flores getting signed as the DC for the Vikings. He was the Steelers. D'Amico Ryan's going to the Texans. He was a player on the Texans. J.J. Watt gave him a shout out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, this is a good guy, good coach. He'll do well for Houston. So I like that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. There's not much you can really say.
Yeah.
Um,
I am happy that Brian Flores got another shot. I don't think that he should have been let go by the Dolphins.
that was so.
after,
Yeah, that was
2
horrible.
seasons ago, that was
Making playoffs
that was
twice.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Besides that, that's the only thing I have to say. So,
Hold on.
oh, sorry.
Back when he was on the Dolphins, dude, that's when Xavier Howard was doing crazy interceptions. He had that defense in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the Steelers. I mean, T.J. Watt, obviously, you have him. The Steelers have great pieces around them for a defense. Now, this is my thing. The Vikings also do too. But now I can't wait for him to shape the whole defense again. I want to see his creative mind behind it and get behind the whole thing.
Yeah, I definitely
So
agree
I think
with that.
this next coming season, I think you're going to see a lot out of him and his potential and how good of a defensive headed coach he is.
Yeah, actually, you just reminded me. Dolphins actually hired a new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he was the defensive coordinator for the Legion of Boom Seahawks.
Oh,
So obviously, you can see that he has a good track record. They have great players. I mean, they have, like you said, Xavier Howard. They have some good safeties. They have who's that D tackle that's always beast in Wilkinson.
What's his name?
He dominates the line of scrimmage. The middle is just crazy with him, but that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Anything you want to say? I mean, Dolphins with a nice defense.
Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb being added into the mix. Super Bowl contender, definitely, if their defense can shape up.
We'll see. That division's tough.
Division's
The
very
AFC
tough.
East for the next couple of years is going to be one of the top
Which
divisions.
will segue into our next topic being, who's going to the Jets? Is it Rodgers? Is it Derek Carr? I think a big thing is obviously Tom Brady retiring. I think that pretty much means Rodgers will not go to the Jets.
I already
know you said on the last
I already
one.
knew Rodgers wasn't going to the Jets. He don't want to end his career with the Jets. No
Yeah.
no Hall of Famer besides Brett Favre, I guess, wants to go to the Jets and end their career there.
Yeah. It's kind of a very similar scenario. I don't know. I know you're not a Jets fan, but I am, and it was the same thing. We didn't have a quarterback, but we had a great defense. He came through, took us to the UFC Championship. So who knows?
Yeah.
I do think it would be ironic though if Aaron Rodgers goes to Raiders and gets back with Devonta, which is just, who knows what was going on there. So that would just be absolutely hilarious.
That would be awesome because I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, but I've always, whenever they are doing their things, I'm like, why don't you ever get this guy another weapon?
Yeah.
And they would always promise him stuff, and then they would draft his
Jordan Love.
replacement.
Yeah.
So I hope Rodgers goes to the Raiders and teams back up with Devonta and they go off. That would be awesome.
Well,
'Cause that would be a big screw you to the Packers, who kind of said screw you to Rodgers.
I want to say they did the same thing to Brett Favre. Brett Favre wanted weapons, and who they draft? Aaron Rodgers. What are you doing?
Right. I mean, it works.
I guess it does. Yeah, I guess.
Bang it. They had two generational talents
Back to
back
back.
lined up. That's why I have a lot of hope for Jordan Love.
But the only thing I'll say is, so what? That's been the last 40 years they've had those quarterbacks, pretty much. 2 Super Bowls. 35 years, 30 years.
30 years.
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, Giants have 2 in a 5-year span with a
Eli-
much worse quarterback. No
Yeah.
offense. But yeah, anyone else want to talk about that?
Rodgers is going to the Raiders. I already know it. He wants Devontae back so badly. He's been crying for help this whole season. I mean, the Packers are just done with him. They're done with his gameplay. He's old, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think the Packers are done with him. I think he's
done with the Packers.
Yeah, and they could probably feel the same way. I mean, they're looking for the future. Jordan Love, obviously, is coming up, hasn't really started too many games, but he's probably turning into that quarterback sitting behind Rodgers a couple seasons, and he's developed. But I know Rodgers wants Devontae back so badly. They could keep Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Renfro, who had a very bad season. I'm sorry, but
Not his fault though.
It's not.
I think
He didn't have a bad season. Renfro himself played fine. He was not part of that scheme at all. That is the Raiders' OC's fault.
Yeah.
And head coach, yes.
But I really think Rodgers can shape up that offensive scheme to the max. He's got Devontae back. The chemistry's always been there. It's never left. It's going to be there. He's going to add in Waller. Like, remember how he had Tunyon that one year? Like, I think last year? And Tunyon was going off. He has that tight end connection. He's got another piece with Renfro, who's like a Randall Cobb type of player. Like, they're going to be
Jordy
good.
Nelson is obviously who I think of first. I also want to say Waller reminds me of a Donald Driver. I don't know if you guys remember. That's what he reminds me of. That's when they won the Super Bowl. Wow. So all I'm saying, a good tight end with Rodgers.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I like that.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. You want to say anything? Just
no, same thing that Bully said basically. I mean, he wants weapons, so he's going to go to a team with weapons, and I think the Raiders is the best spot for him.
Yeah,
I think it makes the most sense.
Yeah, I also think the psychedelics are better in Las Vegas than Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I think you'll have a great time there.
Is Tampa in the mix for Rodgers?
I have not heard anything about that. They definitely could be though. I mean,
like with Brady retiring and everything. So.
Yeah, I heard they were trying to blow it up. That's right.
Okay.
So you asked about Derek Carr and you asked about the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr to the Jets. It is too fitting. Down bad franchise, down bad quarterback. Who else is going to want to go to the Jets?
True. So I've actually heard some stuff on Twitter and just from sources. Saints actually are one of the people in the running for Carr. I don't know if that's necessarily the best fit, but I mean, he has Olave, decent O-line, great running back,
What's wrong
decent
with
defense.
Isn't wrong?
We don't have enough time on this podcast to say what's wrong with James.
Is it just injuries?
Just everything.
His vision.
Injuries, vision, quarterback play, leadership. He's a funny guy at least. I definitely know that.
I love seeing like 5-10 second clips of him. I would not want him to be my franchise quarterback.
And obviously Dalton is not the answer as we saw this year. So Carr's better than both of them. I definitely will say he's better than both of them. It's kind of hard to say after the season you just had though.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about, Tom Brady retiring. We're kind of beating a dead horse, but we have to touch on it.
Mm-hmm. All right, ready? Goat or no go?
Oh, go. For sure.
Go.
Go.
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
I don't know if any of you saw it. He posted up in... he took a picture in his underwear.
Oh, yeah.
Funniest thing I've ever seen in my
God.
life. So funny. I guess we'll try to add it if we can, but the funniest thing I've ever seen, and you could just see that post-retirement Brady might just be a different animal. He's really letting loose with his personality and stuff, so I really like that.
That's
good. Do we think he's actually retiring this time?
I think 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was crying on a beach. He has to be done.
Yeah. Why did he put his video out on the beach? I thought it was gonna be some sentimental. Football meant so much to me. From him, a little the intro NFL type of video.
Yeah. He explained that already. He did that last year.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah, true.
I think he's done. I think he's trying to get Giselle back. That's why he posted up in the underwear. He's posting thirst traps at 45 years old. I respect the hustle. So Brady, round of applause. Great career. Greatest quarterback of any generation ever. So honestly, one of the greatest athletes of all time. So
I'm just happy I got to watch him in my lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful I got to see so many Super Bowls. So
it's hard to relate cross sports. The greatest athlete of all time. He is the best winner of all time.
I think he's up in the ranks of Bill Russell, which is unprecedented. 10 championships back in the 50s. He's doing this in the modern era. He won his first Super Bowl when I was born. Yeah. And his last Super Bowl win was 2 years ago.
Yep.
So that's kind of crazy.
Go.
Yeah. And then last thing I just kind of want to say is, drafts coming up, all this stuff, but at the end of the day, which Kelce brother's better?
It's hard. Travis, dude.
It's so hard because Kelce does a great job at what he's doing.
Which one?
Eagles. Jason. He's up front, always blocking and stuff, but you never see it. It's not the highlight plays. Kelce's out there grabbing touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. you're gonna say Travis Kelce, but Jason Kelce is just as good. He's always helping out Hurts. You know, he's never really gotten sacked.
They're both the best player at their position.
And I think that's the
Yes.
craziest thing.
That's insane.
Everyone knows I love Travis Kelce. I'm gonna go Travis Kelce, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in sports with brothers. I've never seen. I mean, I don't know about the hockey with the the Halls
The Sedin.
or the Sedins. I mean, this is two verified first ballot Hall of Famers that are brothers.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. And yeah, that's just what I want to end off on. I think that is the craziest thing we'll see in sports for quite some time.
And Jason is gonna win a Super Bowl against his brother and then retire a champion.
Yeah, I actually forgot to bring this up. His wife is like 38 weeks pregnant. They're bringing an OBGYN to the stadium. He might win the Super Bowl and have a baby at that stadium. How crazy would that be? How crazy would that be?
That's sick.
But yeah, I just want to end off on that. I think that's the best part of football right now.
You know what would be crazy though? If the Chiefs won and he still had a baby. That's what's gonna happen, Eagles fans. I'm sorry.
All right. If the Chiefs win and he has the baby, is Travis Godfather still or no?
Yeah, has
Yeah.
to be. Has to be. That's his
All
boy.
right, fair.
But yeah, I
Let's
think
wrap it up.
This was the U. Till next time.
Thanks for watching.